What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Yeah, we're gonna jump straight into our daily challenges, of course. Kicking it off with Wordle. Add to our 7-day streak. Our max streak is 8, so we're gonna reach 8 days if we get today's Wordle, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hit play. Begin with our go-to starting word, chart. Send that through. Okay. We have an R. That's it. Ha. Okay. Spore. I think spore is a pretty good second word to guess because S, P, O, and E, they're pretty common letters to be in a word, right? So let's go with that. Whoa, that's interesting. That's not great, actually. I was hoping for more clues than that. How about, okay, I think we shall start off with D. We haven't tested the D yet. I think O is probably in the second column. Highly unlikely that it's in the last column and probably not in the first column. So what's in between Doyer? Ooh, how about lorry? I know lorry is a word. It's a bit of a gamble because L is not too common of a letter. It checks for the O, which is good. It does check for potentially a double R and also a Y at the very end. I think it's a pretty good shout. Let's send that through. Okay, we're gonna take that. I did not pre-play this. I did not pre-play that. What? That's crazy. That is absolutely. I was looking at the keyboard on the screen, like around here, and lorry was the only word that kind of made sense to me. I was testing out like a few different combinations, and I was like, okay, maybe potentially there could be a double. I was thinking of like sorry as a word, but then S, well, obviously is not there. So then I was like, maybe lorry would count, and it checks for the Y at the end. Oh, okay. Guys, today we played it quite well. I can't lie. I think today, we got lucky. We got pretty lucky. But anyways, that puts us at a current streak of 8, which is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, our guest distribution has improved ever so slightly from that. A guest distribution of 3. That's been bumped up to 9 total Wordles, which is pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, lorry, yeah, to be honest, we got quite lucky. Alright, hopping over into Geo Hunter now. We have decent categories to choose from. We're going to kick it off with Pakistan, though. Okay. Incarceration rate. What exactly does that mean? Locked up. Right. I don't think it would be Pakistan. Proximity to Taiwan. That's a very interesting category to be, up there. Pakistan, I think probably number of refugees is a good shout. I don't think it's incarceration rate. I think, is that how you pronounce it? Incarceration rate. It's not tourism. I don't think it's, there's probably a better country for proximity to Taiwan. Press freedom index high. I don't think so. Not for Pakistan. Yeah, let's go. Oh, it could be horses. Nah, let's go with number of refugees. Yeah. It was number 5. Ooh, okay, that's a pretty good pick. Chile. It's definitely not proximity to Taiwan. I'm pretty sure Paraguay is the... What's the word called for when you flip a country around the opposite side of the of Earth? I think it's like antipathy or something like that. Chile? This is a pretty difficult country. These categories are not great for Chile. I don't think it's tea consumption. Horses might be a shout. HDI. I don't think it's a great pick for Chile. Probably not incarceration rate. Hopefully not. Tourism, nah, I don't think so. Proximity to Taiwan, it's absolutely, that's out. And then press freedom index high. Hit or miss. We could skip Chile. Skipping Chile very early on, though. I don't know if that's a good shout. I'm tempted with the horses, although... Nah, that's probably not it. Let's use our skip. Let's go bold. Let's use our skip pretty early. Chile, yeah. Not a great country for any of those categories. Yemen. Whoa. Okay. Yemen is also not a good country for most of these categories. Definitely not this one. Definitely not proximity to Taiwan. There's probably a better country out there. Tourism, no. Incarceration rate, maybe? I don't know Yemen too well. HDI, nah. Horses, nah. Tea consumption, nah. The best pick is incarceration rate. There's probably a better country later on, but it's just what we gotta go with right now. It was 100 plus. Okay, never mind. There was a better country for Yemen. A better category for Yemen. Timor-Leste. Proximity to Taiwan's not a bad shout. Again, there's probably a better country, but I think that's probably our best pick out of the rest of the categories here. HDI? No. Horses? No. Tea consumption? Nah. Let's go with proximity to Taiwan. It was number 12. That's not bad. Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan. Whoa. Let's go with... Turkmenistan is a very... It's an interesting country for all of these categories, I can't lie. I think incarceration rate might actually have been a good pick for Turkmenistan. It's not tourism, it's not press freedom index high. Let's go with tea consumption. Yeah, let's just go with horses. Tea consumption is probably not up there for Turkmenistan. HDI, no. It's our best pick. It was number 70. Yeah, we are not doing well for today's daily challenge for Geo Hunter. Sweden, it could be... Wow, it could be any of these categories, I can't lie. Which one's the best one? HDI, I imagine, has got to be up there. Press freedom index high. Norway is number 1. Sweden is literally Norway's neighbor. Tourism, I imagine, it's probably... I think it's the lowest ranking out of the 4 categories. Tea consumption... Yeah, it's between press freedom index high and HDI, I would say. Let's go with press freedom index high for Sweden. Yeah, HDI is a good pick. I want to point that out, but I think press freedom index high is a better pick. Let's go with that. It was number 4. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that. Turkey. Let's go with tourism. Tourism's not a bad shout for Turkey. Yeah, it's number 6. We'll absolutely take that. Uzbekistan, really? Okay, we're gonna go with tea consumption. And gamble for the final country for HDI. It was 53 plus. There's only 53 plus countries with registered under this statistic. The US for HDI though, not terrible. Number 19. It's okay. Whoa, we have a brand new results screen, which is pretty nice. Yeah, okay, so target was 92. We won 184 over that. That's not great. Leaving us with a final score of 276. So we had 63% accuracy, got 5 out of 8 of these picks correct. So yeah, Yemen was incorrect, Turkmenistan was incorrect, and then Uzbekistan was incorrect. Our other countries were really good though, Pakistan for number of refugees, Timor-Leste, Sweden, Turkey, US, whew. We kind of cooked, I can't lie. Yeah, I mean, I think we may have shuffled these the wrong way around. That's probably what happened. Okay, whoa, the perfect solution's also looking, it's refreshed, the layout's completely different now. So, Chile was tea consumption. Oh, I did not know that. Yemen, we should have skipped Yemen. That's fair enough. The categories that we had, they just did not really suit Yemen. Turkmenistan for incarceration rate. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And then Uzbekistan for horses. Even though it was 32, it was the best pick for Uzbekistan. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that Chilean people drank that much tea. Otherwise, I would have gone for that. Yeah, maybe we should have not skipped Chile because Chile had. Yeah, there were bound to be other countries that we probably should have used our skip for, but it's okay. Yeah, I mean, it kind of screwed us over a little bit, but look, everything else we played kind of well, so it's not the end of the world. Alrighty, so we're going to hop into today's global, or daily global challenge. We're going to kick it off with Italy, of course. Send that through 230 kilometers away. That's pretty good. That's pretty close. So, in this case, maybe Spain could be a good shout. The closest border to Spain is probably this distance right here, and I would imagine that's roughly 200. Maybe that's slightly less than 200. Okay, maybe we don't go for Spain. Something like the Netherlands. I think Netherlands, what was that? 180 kilometers away, or was it? It was roughly 200 kilometers away. So we need to be thinking the same distance to the Netherlands as the same distance from Italy to the Netherlands, something like that. So maybe a Poland could be a cook, although I think Poland's border is right about here, so maybe not Poland. Hungary could be a cook. Otherwise, something like Romania is probably the next best shout. In terms of countries in Africa, I think it's very awkward because Algeria is only 50 kilometers away. Tunisia is obviously like even closer, probably. Libya is too close for 200 kilometers away from Italy, and then Egypt. Yeah, I think that's a bit too far away to be only 230 kilometers away from Italy. So I reckon we go for. I'm thinking of Romania. Romania. Maybe that's a bit too far away. Okay, in that case, we go Hungary. Yeah, I think Hungary's a good shout. Could be Serbia, you know. Ooh, Serbia. Serbia's probably a better shout, actually. Yeah, let's go for Serbia. I think Hungary's. Where's Hungary again? I know Hungary borders Austria, and Austria goes roughly towards here. Yeah, Hungary's probably too close. Okay, let's go with Serbia. Let's just send that through. Whoa, okay, Serbia's cooler, but pretty much the same distance away. So, in that case, maybe it was Poland, right? I think so. Otherwise, it pushes us down here, which, I mean, in that case, it could be Egypt. Please don't be Egypt, otherwise I'm going to look like a fool. Surely not Libya. I don't think it's Libya. Let's go for Poland. I think that's probably the best shout that we have. Yeah. It gives us more information anyway. Oh, it's adjacent to the answer. So Italy is ever so slightly closer to Serbia, and Poland's adjacent to the answer? That's a bit confusing. Czechia then, right? Yeah, okay. Wait, was the Netherlands? The Netherlands was 500 kilometers away. What am I saying? We threw today's global away. We could go on Czechia. As our second guess, I can't lie. That is 200 kilometers indeed. Why did I think Netherlands was only 200 kilometers away? That is a misplay by me. Okay, look, 4 guesses is okay. We've been getting 4 guesses quite a lot recently, which, is not great. I think our performance could have been a little bit better. Especially for today, I could have gone in 2 guesses. That is my bad. Anyways, let's take a look at our statistics. Yeah, it's still sitting on 3.88. Yesterday it was on 3.88 as well, so it's barely budged, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, look, 4 guesses. It's alright. A little bit annoyed that I misplayed this a little bit, but it is what it is. Okay, of course, we're going to finish off with today's GeoGrid. Looking at the categories here, we have same-sex marriage legalized again, making its way into the grid. Touches the Eurasian steppe? I actually don't even know what this is. The country lies within or borders the Eurasian steppe, a vast grassland region stretching from Eastern Europe to Central Asia. Right. Is that? I think that's pretty much Russia. The surrounding area towards the southwestern part of Russia. That's what I'm gonna. Actually, let's look it up. Let's see what the Eurasian steppe, or however you pronounce it, actually is. Okay, so it's actually quite a large extent of area. So it stretches into Hungary. Whoa! This is kind of giving us a little bit of a cheats to the GeoGrid. I do realize that. Maybe this is better map. So, yeah, wow, okay, That is pretty much the entire southern part of Russia. That's good to know. It stretches for quite the distance. Okay, we will keep that in mind. So with this row then, this makes it a little bit, this makes it interesting. So French is not an official language and touches the Eurasian steppe. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. There's quite a few countries, I can't lie. French is not an official language. That's not even that hard of a category for this particular square. Let's go with Kazakhstan. I think Kazakhstan is a pretty safe shout. Yeah, let's send that through. It's a pretty common country to guess, but it's okay. It's alright. Moving on. Annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. That is very little rain. And then touches the Eurasian steppe. Does Mongolia count? Because, yeah, I would say so. Russia probably doesn't count because it's such a vast country and lots of parts of Russia would get rainfall, at the same time, right? So it increases the chance of Russia getting an annual rainfall under over 1,500 millimeters. So I don't think we should go for Russia. Let's go with, I think we shall go with Mongolia. Is that too far to the east? We're going to send that through. It's, okay, it was a pretty common pick. Yeah, but I think, no. Mongolia is definitely a very dry country, but it's probably a very safe shout, and there were not many other countries that I had in mind which would suit this category. I guess there's a lot of countries in Central Asia, like the Stans, but it's okay, we move on. Has a river as a border. That's an interesting category. Let's go with touches the Eurasian steppe as well. Making me really think outside the box for this one, hey. China. I think China would work. Yeah, China definitely has a river as a border, I'm pretty sure at least, towards the eastern end? Let's go with China. Yeah, it was 6%. That's pretty good. I can't lie, that's actually pretty good. So we have the entire Eurasian steppe row out of the way, which is pretty good. Let's move on to flag without blue, and French is not an official language. There are many countries that suit this square. I am thinking of... What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of a Vietnam. Let's go with Vietnam. French should not be an official language in the Vietnam. It's definitely not. No, come on. And it definitely doesn't have blue in its flag. Let's go with that. 1.2% of people only guess that? Nah, something's wrong there. That's too rare. Vietnam's not that uncommon of a country to guess. Annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. Flag without blue. Ooh, that's not an easy country to... an easy square to guess. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of countries in the Middle East, they probably have annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. Yeah. Let's go with Bahrain. Surely Bahrain has very little rain. Yeah. Okay, 2% of people, only 2% of people guess that. Pretty good. Has a river as a border and flag without blue. Oh, that is not easy. That isn't easy. How about a Spain? I think Spain would be a good shout. It shares a border with France, and it has a river as its border with France, I'm pretty sure. Is that a better country, though? Spain's probably too common of a country. Nah, let's just send it through. Let's send it through. Does Spain have blue in its flag? Okay. Okay. How about Bolivia then? Does Bolivia have blue in its flag? Surely not. I know Bolivia has... It shares a border with Brazil, and they share a river border, right? Oh, no. You know what? We're gonna come back to the square. I think we're gonna come back to it as our last square to go for. Let's go with same-sex marriage legalized, and then French is not an official language. Okay. New Zealand. I think New Zealand's gonna be a very rare pick for this square, so let's go for that. It was 7.1%. That's higher than I thought. Okay. Annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. Same-sex marriage legalized. That's not easy. That ain't easy. Annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. That's it limits options down for this one. Maybe South Africa could maybe work. Nah. No. We should be thinking of. What should we be thinking of? Does the UAE have same-sex marriage legalized? Yeah? Let's go with the UAE. United Arab Emirates. It does not have same-sex marriage legalized. Fantastic. Instead, we're going to pivot over to this square then, in that case. Get this one out of the way and then decide between the other two. Has a river as a border and then same-sex marriage legalized. Let's play it safe, and let's go with the United States. United States of America has, or actually maybe Canada. Canada is probably a rarer guess than the US, so let's go with Canada. Yeah, 5.1%, that's not terrible. So which one should we go for now? Has a river as a border, and then flag without blue. Okay, I'll come up with a list of countries if I can think of any. Has a river as a border is not easy to go with. How about Peru? I'm kind of gambling here. I don't know if Peru has a river as its border. Yeah, let's just go for it. No, okay. Okay, I think they counted Peru as not the flag with just red, white, and red, but the symbol in the middle, with a coat of, I think it's a coat of arms in the middle. I don't know. It counted that in its flag, which is a little bit diabolical. Rank 3,110th out of 3,732. Beat only 16.7% of players. Not great. Apparently today's grid wasn't even that bad. Okay, looking at the answer details, Germany would be a good shout. Egypt makes a lot of sense as well. So, wait, what? The other one? Oh, Australia. Oh, okay. Australia does have an annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters. Does it? No. Yeah? That seems way too low. No. Australia has higher than 1,500 millimeters. It's a huge country, and, like, you get the wet season up towards the north now. Okay, alright. Least popular, Sudan, Bulgaria. Okay, fair enough. Lebanon, oh yeah, that's true. Right, Austria. Austria receives less than 1,500 millimeters of rainfall. Interesting. Okay, how many answers were there? There were 63 for this one. Seems like I don't really know my countries that share a border shares a river as its border. Great. And then this one only had 27, which, I mean, yeah, look, annual rainfall under 1,500 millimeters, that is, like, a very low number. I don't know if many countries here have under 1,500 millimeters. Like, the US, it surely has more rain than 5,000 or 1,500 millimeters each year, right? Fair enough. Okay, wrong guesses. 2 wrong guesses. It has red, yellow, grey, blue, green, and pink in Spain's flag. I do remember that pink is in Spain's flag, but I didn't know that blue was in Spain's flag. Peru has, yeah, they use the coat of arms instead of the red, white, and red for the Peruvian flag, which, yeah, okay. And then same-sex marriage legalized. Well, in the UAE, it's not legalized. Alright, we are going to move on from this GeoGrid and never look back at this one again, because today's GeoGrid was a little bit of a disaster. Anyways, I think this is also a good opportunity for us to leave it there for today. Hope you guys did enjoy watching today's video. Of course, the links to Wordle, Geo Hunter, Globle, and GeoGrid will be down in the description for you to check it out. Highly recommend having a play. It's a ton of fun and an absolute blast. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next one.